This is the 420 news on Nimbin television. Even Jimmy Lovechild. With my co-host, Hempy the Clown. In the headlines, we have a special doctor's report on inhaling cannabis. And also, we have a story from the president about hemp. And later in the program, we will announce the winner of the Quote of the Week competition. Our first story is about the inhalation of cannabis from Reverend C.S. Burnett. Here is the speech recorded earlier.
Inhalation. I discovered that, among the natives in southern Asia, those that smoked the cannabis sativa, or hashish, as called by them, were rarely if ever afflicted with any disease of the throat, lungs or air passages, and the idea at once struck me that the fumes of the cannabis sativa, or hashish, which they relish so well must be a preventative, if not a cure, for the diseases, particularly if used by inhalation in connection with the inward taking of the medicine. I find, after due examination and experience, that the inhaling of the vapor of the cannabis sativa has a very marked and beneficial effect, and has so far, without a single exception, produced the most happy results. By inhalation, the remedy is directly addressed to the diseased organs and the integument. It is highly necessary at this time, when the dread disease, consumption, and its kindred diseases, is sweeping to the grave so many thousands yearly, that each suffering patient should receive the benefit of the local as well as general treatment. I would not advise the use of inhalation of any kind to the exclusion of general treatment, yet I consider it a useful adjuvant in the proper management of those fearful, lingering and often fatal diseases. Although inhalation alone, in the incipient or first stage of the disease, will, in most cases, entirely eradicate it, yet if a fellow sufferer applies to me for advice, I cannot feel that I have done my whole duty to him unless I have advised both general and local treatment. For the benefit of the sufferer, I would say, in conclusion, that I now have prepared, under my supervision, by my own chemist, a convenient concentrated mixture of the cannabis sativa and iodine, for the purpose of inhaling, together with a neat and convenient inhaler that any child can use, which I will be happy to send to such as desire it, at about the cost of manufacture, charging no profit for time and trouble. All I wish is to guard myself against a positive loss of funds.
One of my favorite books is from Chris Conrad called Hemp, Lifeline to the Future. The following is an excerpt. The marijuana hypocrisy. International law guarantees everyone the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. America is called the land of liberty. The pledge to the flag promises liberty and justice for all. The Bill of Rights ensures individual freedom. During the 1980s, America saw these ideals and guarantees sacrificed to the golden calf of the drug war. Meanwhile, prohibitionists fight a war against treason over the hemp plant. As self-appointed guardians of public morality, their attack on cannabis has dragged on for more than half a century. It is a very real war, with enemies, offensives, front lines, and huge military budgets. Truth was its first casualty and justice soon after. The United Nations Single Convention Treaty, Article 23, requires governments to maintain one or more agencies to regulate compliance, or entitlement programs for bureaucrats to meddle in our lives and businesses. Any treaty that equates cannabis with coca and discusses making heroin from hemp ensures irrational enforcement. In early 1922, world leaders publicly drank an alcoholic beverage toast to end drug use. Plans now include concentration camps for thousands of peaceful cannabis consumers. In the words of conservative commentator William F. Buckley, narcotics police are an enormous, corrupt international bureaucracy, and now find a coterie of researchers who provide them with scientific support. Fanatics who distort the legitimate research of others. The anti-marijuana campaign is a cancerous tissue of lies, undermining law enforcement, aggravating the drug problem, depriving the sick of needed help, and succoring well-intentioned conservatives and countless frightened parents. Those who think this simply a do the crime, do the time issue, and nothing more, are fooling themselves. We have created a true industry of jails and prisons, as institutionalized and ingrained into the fabric of our society as the automotive and computer industries, wrote Sheriff Michael Hennessy. The only reasoned answer to this debacle is decriminalization of our nation's drug use laws, but who in government will lead the way? Rejecting such anti-democratic themes and accepting cannabis use would be more consistent with international human rights law. I am U.S. President Obama. And you are watching Nimbin television on YouTube. See you next time.
I'm here with NTV the Clown, in the studios of Nimbin Television. I would like to make a promise, on behalf of all cannabis law reform activists. When cannabis or hemp, or marijuana or weed, or pot, or ganja, is legalized, there will be no more of this cheap, tacky advertising. Cannabis activists worldwide will stop making posters, newspapers, magazines, websites and stop making video about cannabis prohibition. There will be no more. When the efforts of all the members of groups and political organizations have succeeded, then we will stop making any noise about cannabis prohibition. The promise of keeping quiet about cannabis prohibition forever will be kept unconditionally as soon as prohibition has ended. You can be sure. There will be no more extolling the virtues of cannabis for food, fuel, fiber, medicine. There will probably be no more talk of cannabis as a substance of choice, or as a sacred, spiritually enlightening herb. Until the day cannabis becomes legal, you can be sure there will be plenty of noise about prohibition. Plenty of noise, indeed. Thank you. Hi, I am speaking on behalf of the party. The Australian Hemp Party. The main party policies on hemp or cannabis are these: to re-legalize and regulate cannabis for personal, medical, and industrial uses. To allow for health education, home growing, and regulated sales through registered outlets, which will separate cannabis from the criminality of the black market, and then consequent associated corruption. To allow medical use, utilizing cannabis for its pain-killing, relaxing, anti-nausea and healing properties. To establish a commercial hemp industry for producing fuel, fiber, paper, and textiles. Also, hemp seed food, oil and the other environmentally sound products. To release all those imprisoned for cannabis alone, and the removal of all records of previous criminal cannabis convictions. You can help end cannabis prohibition. Join the party. Have you seen the website? AustralianHempParty.com